anything A to Z, it'll come up. Referee Magazine did a story. Mark Wunderlich basically took all the stuff that we've been doing in camps for years and years, and he just matched them up with each letter of the alphabet. And A is awareness, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, got another question for you. Another question is, I want you to think about this. What do you think the ratio is of official to supervisor or official to coach? You know, it's like the ratio player to coach. You know, today in college there's, you know, a whole bunch of assistant coaches. There's about 15, 16 players. What do you think the ratio is? What do you think it is of supervisor slash official? How many people do you think, what group are you in, and how many people who like watch your games like a coach would? Give me some ideas. What's that? 40 to 1. That's a good one, don't you think? 40 to 1? All right, anybody have any other numbers? I mean, I've talked to some people, and I asked them, I said, well, how was your season? Oh, it was real good, terrific. Well, what kind of input you get? 0. Now think about this, all right? 0. That's more common than you would realize. So, what do you think then, how do we get better if we don't have coaches? What do we do? We can do these things, right? We can read, we can watch games, but how do we really get better? Why do you think, I mean, I just said this to Jamie, and being around Doug, I know it's the same way. How do you think these guys drove themselves to continue to improve, to get their play calling average up, and to handle situations? Talk to me. Okay, yourself, yes, okay. Watching yourself on video, okay, it's all about the exercise of self-assessment. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, the exercise of self-assessment, really, really important. Okay, so what this means is that when you watch yourself on video, about 20% of what you look at is going to be call validation. If you're a call validation official and you're just watching that, you're going to get about 20%. Now and if you learn to look at video, how do you think the coaches look at video? Now you think about this, and they're coaches and players, I hate to tell us, but they're ahead of us. And the one way we can catch up, is to continue to work a system where they're not going to all of a sudden show up with a bunch of coaches. All right, it's just not going to happen. I want you to write these 3 letters down: presence, projection, and personality. These 3 things, presence, projection, and personality, deal makers. It's the difference between you going from JV to varsity and staying there, or moving on to junior college into Division II and on your way to Division I. I came into the NBA in 1966. I was 24 years old. I had little or no clue. I went to my superintendent schools. I was teaching and coaching. So I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to go do this. Go see the country. I was going to take 1 year. That was it. I wanted to be a college coach. I had no desire to make this a career. So I was really having fun for 1 year. My first game, October 19th of 1966, Madison Square Garden. Second game, a doubleheader, the Warriors and the Knicks. Pre-game was at a steakhouse about 2 blocks from Madison Square Garden, and it was Gallagher's Steakhouse, and we sat in the corner. It was Mendy Rudolph, who's in the Hall of Fame, and it was Richie Powers and Norm Drucker and myself. So we didn't have film. They had a piece of paper, and we started moving salt and pepper shakers around, and they said to me, look, kid, 24 years old, you're going to have Willis Reed, you're going to have Nate Thurman, okay, this is the way you referee them. They said, look, you're not going to be perfect, so don't worry about that. I said, well, I'm pretty sure I know that. Just act like you know what you're doing. That's all. And we know that that's probably why you're here. Just act like you know what you're doing. When you think about this now, that was what, 47 years ago? And it's sort of the same deal. We got to carry ourselves in a way that our presence and our projection are believable. Because ultimately, we want the people around us, whether it's the players or the coaches, to trust us. That's your ultimate goal. You're trying to get to the point where there's some level of trust, okay? So we're going to go through and we're going to look at some video here. And what I want to do is I want you to get into this process. It's called find, fail, fix. Okay? Find, fail, fix. This is how we're going to do this, okay? So this first play, Santa Clara, San Francisco. Okay? And when we stop it here, think about the situation. Jamie just nailed it. Okay? On defense is Santa Clara. They have what? They have 60. Can you see that number? Okay? On offense is San Francisco. They have 63. Okay, basketball IQ. If I'm Santa Clara, what is my strategy here? What's my approach? What's that? Okay. I think the first thing the coach is going to say is defend, no fouls. Right? There's no reason. There's no reason to foul here. Correct? Right. So I'm going to put this in the equation. I'm going to think about this now. They're going to try to play the best possible defense, force San Francisco into either a turnover or a bad shot. One and done. Get the ball. It's a one-possession game. You with me? Okay. Hey, so San Francisco is saying, hey, let's get to the line. Let's get to the hole. So I want you to watch as this play progresses. And I want you to look at that picture right there. See the picture right up there on the screen? The screener. Right up here? Okay. So we look at this play, and we look at the trail official, and we give you all the background information that you have, and bad play by the defense, huh? Bad play by the defense? Now watch the reaction. So if you're going to do a self-assessment on that play, what are you going to say? Based on one look. Self-assessment on that play. Correct call? Huh? Correct call. Right? Correct call. Everybody's with me? Okay. All right. Now, so you would put down your little sheet because you're in the self-assessment thing. Yeah, correct call. Okay, good. Terrific. Okay, then we move on. Okay, fine. However, look, if you look at the reaction of the player, gee, this seemed like a pretty obvious foul, did it not? Why would that player react like that? See his body language? So was he upset with himself? Or why did he react that way? So now, I want you to now look at the play again. Okay? I want you to see what the offensive player is doing. Here's the way you look at plays. You look at the play strictly through the eyes of the defensive team, self-assessment. Then you run the play and you look at strictly through the eyes of the offensive team. Everybody with me? You with me? Okay. So, what's that picture tell you? What's that? Yeah. Say it again, louder. Right. This is a fool the referee play. They won. Right? We're in self-assessment. Everybody with me so far? So we just went from correct call, because we looked at it a little further, because we looked at it from the aspect of look at the defensive team, now watch the offensive team, read the emotion of the play, factor all that in. You want to get better? Okay, so now I'm the trail official in this play, and I look at this and I go through the steps and I say, So now, how do I say to myself, find, fail, fix? All right? So let's go back through. I'm asking these questions, and I want you to think about the answers. All right? So let's go back through here, and let's start the play. How are we right now? Trail official, who called the play? How are we? Okay? When you watch, here's what you do. You watch your video, watch position on the floor and head position. Those two things. That's the way you watch video. Find, fail, fix, position on the floor, head position. Let me ask you a question. Is this, Jamie talked about, what do you call, you didn't call it action area, you called it where the players are, what was the terminology you used? Okay, good. So are these two players that we have to referee here coming up in the trail? Huh? Yes or no? Hey, listen, by the way, if you're running one of these deals, whoever you have speaking at this hour, 45 minutes after lunch, that's got to be the highest paid speaker, okay? Because, all right? Because, now I know this is hard because you guys, you just had the chicken and you most of you probably ate the brownies, but you got to hang with me because I'm going to give you some information. And here's the deal. If I see you nodding, I'm going to call on you. Okay, you with me? All right, good. Stay with me. That should wake you up. All right, so are these players competing? Okay, so now what, if they're not competing, let's use our resources. So then what should the trail be looking at if they're not competing? Look at where's his head? He's on two players that are not competing, correct? Okay?
Real quick, because I know you like interactive.
Yeah, I do like that.
The problem we have is this guy has been told that he has to count when they get exactly 6 feet apart, which is, I had 0, 5, 7, none. But somebody told him, as soon as those players get 6 feet apart, you got to count.
Oh.
The trails were,
Oh.
which is ridiculous.
Okay, well, you just put another equation in there. I didn't think about that. I still say that he should be, okay, if you're teaching the trail, all right, if you're in a camp, okay, we're gonna hire you. Christina, you're hired, okay? I want you to teach the trail, all right? So what are the principles in working the trail? What did you learn over there in Purdue in working the trail?
2 steps behind, ball handler, looking for a competitive matchup.
2 steps behind the ball. That's pretty complicated to me. 2 steps behind the ball handler, looking for a competitive matchup and looking for the defense. Okay? I wouldn't disagree with that, but can I make it easier? Because I'm kind of an elementary kind of guy. How about looking at the primary defender and as many of the other 8 as possible? We like that? Because then I'm looking for that competitive matchup that Jamie was talking about. So I'm going to look at the primary defender. So if I'm doing that, I can still do my count, know my count thing. I can look through him, and because what happens here is that I don't see this play over here at the elbow from the beginning. And the center official must not have been aware of what's going on because as this thing starts, and we talk about this, I want you to think about this. You need to process plays. Process plays. Let me give you the example. I got my little video machines up here. I'm collecting data. I take one picture. That's picture number 1. Take 2 pictures. 3, 4, 5. So 5 frames. Think about this. 5 frames per play. Start, develop, finish. You with me? So when you look at your plays, self-assessment, and you say to yourself, how many frames did I get here on this? Because if I get all 5, I'm going to have a well-informed decision. I like my chances. Most of the time when we miss plays, either we're looking at the wrong place or we don't see the entire play. We don't get all 5 frames. So when you look at this, look at his head, he may be coming right now. See it? So when did he pick it up? Which frame? Right, about 2 or 3. So the information that he got, the trail got here, was incomplete. He saw frame 3, and here comes 4, and there's 5. And that sure does look like a foul, does it not? 3, 4, and 5? But if I don't see 1 and 2, right, and this is the beauty of our game, is that we're always going to be challenged by these kinds of plays. You know, we had earlier today, you know, Debbie talked about flops. It's a problem in the game today. It is a problem. You know, people teach it. They become very artistic. We have to be better. We have to be better at refereeing that play, and it's not called block as soon as the guy falls down. That's not what we do, okay? But we don't reward him when he's on the floor and there's nobody going to and through. Here's the key on this is an aside. You can put this over an aside on your margin. The key on flop plays is to be aware of the movement of the offensive player. Know if the offensive player is or is not under control. Okay, you're refereeing the defender, well, I have to know. So if he jump stops at the contact and he's under control and he's able to move laterally or stop, and the player does a back handspring, well, all bets are off. That's not an offensive foul. That's a no call. Okay? It's not a block. It's a no call. Okay, so the point is in self-assessment here is that summation. After I've looked at this play, now we've run it through, 4 or 5 times. And I would assume that everybody's looking at the play and you're watching it from a different aspect each time we ran it through, right? That's what you did? Yeah? With me? Okay. So let me ask you this question. We ask ourselves why. First place we say we have a find fail, right? Fix. So what's the fix? What's the coaching point here? So you're now the trail official's coach. And he says to you, I had a big play in the San Francisco-Santa Clara game, and my find and fail, I realized that I got beat on the play, and I called a foul, and really Santa Clara didn't want a foul there, and I sort of put them in a pickle, put San Francisco on the line. So what's the coaching point? So go ahead. Okay, right. So I have no pressure. Good. Adam, this is a good man. He's answering the questions. Good. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. No pressure. Right. So I'm going to go to the next. Right. Okay. And.
I think you could be a little bit more sideline based too.
Okay. All right. Now here's another point. You can write this down in bold letters. All right. You ready? Do not guess. Sounds pretty elementary. Do not guess. So if I'm in frame 3, 4, and I blow the whistle, that's a guess. I didn't really see what happened there. Now, if I don't drill down in self-assessment, I go right by this. I miss a major teaching point if I don't drill down here. You with me? Okay. So let's move on. So I'm going to be here for games today and tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you guys about situations. I know that there's going to be some video breakdown stuff going on, which is going to be all good. I'm going to talk to you guys about some situations, and I'm going to ask you about the self-assessment process. The more you do this, okay, now, so second half, halfway through. 37-34. Defensive team is extending and pressuring. Okay? Chances are there was a timeout. We got to play more aggressive defense, so they're out trapping my midcourt. Think like a coach. Understand what's happening here. Extension of defense. More pressure. Okay? And now, okay. What's that tell you? What does that play right there tell you? If you just look at that alone. Think like a coach and a player. What do you think went on in that huddle? What's that? Speak up.
Watch the trap.
How about the play at the rim? What? How about this one? Hey guys, no layups. Huh? Does that play not look like that? Right? No layups. Period. In other words, if they have a layup, make them earn it on the free throw line. All right? So, that's play number 1. Now watch. Same game. Hold on. Going to go to play number 2. Same game. All right? A little bit later. Drive to the rim. Well, it sounds like to me the one of the coaches must have said no layups. Right? Would this register to us? So now, as a crew, hey, good idea to get together and say, hey, hard fouls at the rim, let's stay with it. What other things can come from this when we start to have that kind of play? What else can come from this?
On the other side, they could have a dirtier foul.
Aha, yeah, very good, very good. I'm going to think about the escalation of emotions. Jamie said he talked about getting the antennas up. I mean, listen, we're going to, right here, well, they're going to play this way, we're going to play this way. What else are we going to think about? What?
Getting up and saying something right away or retaliation right after he gets off.
Yeah. Okay. So in other words, boy, I got to be really good at dead ball. It's really interesting because I know that in the NBA, there's a constant discussion about dead ball. But frankly, there's so many games played. Rarely does anything happen dead ball during the regular season. Occasionally. But just wait till this weekend and we start playing. Those guys are going to have to be outstanding with dead ball. That means that when you blow the whistle, you've got to keep your concentration up and you have to keep refereeing. So why not make that part of my deal where I do this all the time, all right? So when I look at this self-assessment, I go back and say, did I realize how the physicality, did I realize that we were having no layup? We were playing no layups? Did I know that when this was going on? Gee, did we get together as a group and talk about this? All right? Okay. Now, sometimes, I just said that we have plays that are marginal. That means contact, but allowable contact. And then we have contact that's illegal. Some plays are easy. You two hands on a player, that's a foul. Okay? You displace a player with your forearm, and he chucks him in a dislodging situation, that's a foul. There are other plays that are more challenging when one player, maybe the offensive player, initiates contact, and you're trying to read whether the defender's legal or not, and it becomes just brush contact or it's not a run over, and you really have to look at these plays. So you're going to have marginal, going to have the illegal, but then you're going to have the other. I'm reading the reaction by the bench. Well, when I see that looking at my video, if I haven't seen that on the floor, I'm probably going to say, let me just take a check here and look at this again, because it seems like, there's an interesting reaction here. So let's, okay, diagonal drive. If I'm looking at my position adjustment, look at the trail official. Is there anything that we want to do here as the trail official? Is there anything we can do to help ourselves? Because we're trying to do what? What kind of move to get what? We're trying to move for what? What's that? Thank you. Very good. Glad to know you guys are with me. So, is that in the purest of sense, is that an open angle? And is there a better place? Self-assessment. That's what you're going to ask yourself. Is there a better place? Is there a better place? Okay. So what you're doing, you're sitting in your office and you're doing this, you just move your little laser pointer. We have in Court Club, we have the telestrator thing now, and we're just kind of moving. And so where would you like to see this referee? Where'd you like to see that trail? In a perfect world, huh? So would you like to see him? I'm sorry, I'm going to go over here for a second. Would you like to see him like maybe 1, 2? Huh? Most position adjustments are 2 steps. sometimes one step. Usually subtle, one or two. Maybe we talk about the two-step rule, but basically, if I go right here, how about the difference in that look right there on that play? Because otherwise, who has an open look to this play? As we stop it right here, self-assessment. Nope, the only person that has a chance is for the trail to stay connected, right? So you're watching your video. We haven't even talked about call validation here. We're talking about making an effective position adjustment. Everybody with me? Okay, good. So, as we then go through the rest of the play, 3-point shot. Okay, what does that say right there? What's that picture tell you? Okay, from a competitive standpoint, offense, defense, ball shot against the board. What does that say? Anybody's advantage. What's that? Okay, where's the ball? Know where the ball is. The ball. Rebounding, know where the ball is. You got it? Always know where the ball is. So where's the ball? Okay, between what? What somebody said? The ball is straight between the two players, right? So it's a 50-50. So right now, whoever jumps, whoever's stronger, they get the ball. No advantage one way or the other, correct? Okay, so possession, court club members, you should know this. Consequence. Is there a possession consequence on this play? Okay, so check that box. All right? There's one other time when I call fouls on rebounding. There's only 2 times I call fouls on rebounding. One, we've already eliminated. Possession consequence. That means the contact changed who got possession of the ball. So the other time is a cleanup. Very good. Matt Reverie. Very good. So that basically means no matter where the ball is, if this play is so overtly physical, and where this player has dislodged, locked, all the things that can happen, doesn't matter what, this is something where I say, this game needs a whistle right here. There's a demand for a whistle right here. They're the 2 times I blow the whistle on rebounding. Anybody have any other times you blow the whistle on rebounding? That's it. So every time you do a self-assessment and watching yourself in rebounding plays, you put the thing in one of those 2 categories. You with me? So, how are we in either category? In this play right here. Did we check either box? The answer? How many people say that's a foul? Okay, no, that's not a foul. So, we have an incorrect call. All right? Coaching point. What's the coaching point here? Somebody, help me out. You're now coaching the lead official, who I've seen him work. He's a very good referee. Okay, this stuff happens to everybody. But what's the coaching point in this particular play? Okay, patient whistle at the lead. All right, let's go to the 5 frames again. So, the ball is shot. All right, who has what? Coach him up. I want you to coach this guy up here. Coach him up. Who has what? Lead in rebounding has what? What's that? Okay, lead has strong side rebounding. All right, center has weak side rebounding. Trail has perimeter and some strong. You with me? So he should be refereeing this player, but he should also be aware of where the ball is, correct? So I would say to him, slow down, because look at the timing of his whistle. Slow down and know the position of the ball. All right? I can assure you, I know how good this referee is, that if he looked at this play this way, and maybe he did, and then he looked at other rebounding plays, and he started looking at rebounding plays, he might say, you know, I think one of my areas for development for next year might in fact be that I want to be a little better on rebounding plays. So let me watch some games here and see how rebounding plays are called. All right? So this is a perfect example here because this happens to be, the score is 3-point game, and this happens to be foul number 5, which is why the reaction that we have at this point. Now, I want to clarify something. Jamie said it well about get the plays right at the end. This is real important. Get the plays right at the end. If you miss a play in the first 3 minutes, they probably will have forgotten about that. Okay? Unless somebody got cold cocked and you didn't see it. But for the most part, you miss a play in the first 3 minutes, and you're going to miss plays. Okay? They forgot about that. When you get down to this part of the game, okay, high certainty with high impact. This is a high impact play. Right? High impact play. So when I'm breaking down my video and I'm going through self-assessment, I got to say, wait a minute, I got to know at this point, this play better jump up at me, and it's one of those where there is a demand that I have to blow the whistle, that the game needs my whistle. Okay? Without a question, the game needs my whistle. Well, from his angle, no way, shape, or form did the game need his whistle here. So as he looks at it, we're basically, when you look at the play and you say, all right, so why do you think he blew the whistle? Was it because he thought that the inside player got pushed off the ball and the Miami kid touched it? But if you process the whole play, all 5 frames, okay, because as you look at this play, it looks like, again, he refereed the play from frame 3, 4, and 5. All right, high impact, high certainty. All right, let's move on. By the way, the guy in the middle is Tommy Rush. He's a 4-sport star. Just took up lacrosse, which is pretty interesting, watching a 7-year-old play lacrosse. And the 2 ladies next to him are his twin sisters. And he's sort of in charge, whoever he thinks he is. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go to another play that I think you're going to find to be very interesting. Rebounding, better choice. Hold it. Rim. Okay. Here's a flop play. And we'll just let's understand. And one of the other things in self-assessment is when you make a decision that's correct, run the play back and make sure you know why you made a correct decision. Okay? So, offensive foul or not? Okay, why? Okay, back to the fundamental. Awareness of the offensive player, right? So the offensive player, if you see here, she came to a jump stop at the contact. All right? One more time. This is a form of early offense. So if we're breaking down the video, early offense. In a perfect world, we'd like to see the lead where? We'd like to see the lead in a place where she can receive the play, right? Instead of looking over her shoulder. So there's a maybe a little more demand in early offense, which we see in basketball more and more all the time. Okay, so we got a little 2-person game, screening game, and now we have a jump stop right there. All right? How's our center position? Self-assessment. Okay. I got to be able to feel. Now right here, as I go through this play, we have called this play correctly. Okay? But I have to be able to feel my angle. So if the play goes through and I say, boy, I didn't get all 5 frames there, that wasn't a well-informed decision. I got to go back and say, you know, when those plays across the lane, I've got to make a 2-step adjustment. Make an adjustment to the right. I've got an open look where I can help on that play. All right? So again, we have a correct call. There's a couple things in coaching here that we can come up with. All right. So how many people have gone through a real in-depth find, fail, fix? Real in-depth. Where you've gone through and looked at your walk, looked at your nonverbal communication. You're standing next to a coach, you're looking at what your nonverbal says. Okay. Got a question on that. Here's my question. If I were to say to you that you want to have some signs up around your head and your body that indicate what your nonverbal says, what would you like to have on those signs? These are labels or identification. What would you want to have? What would you want your nonverbal to say? Okay, this is really important. Yes. Okay, good. Well, number one, I want this to be able to say that I am very confident. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. You want to get up as close to that as possible without going over that line. But I want to carry myself in a way that, you know, that I exude confidence, which helps me believable. What else? Yes. Well, I'm so confident that I understand what's going on. I have the answer. Well, I'm carrying myself like I have the answer. But you look at that person, you say, "Oh, they probably have the answer." That means that comes from knowing the rules. Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm somewhat comfortable, but you know, I don't want to be at the point where I'm slouching. But I'm basically. I believe that I belong there. I think we know the thing. Kyle. Persistent. Okay. Which would mean what? Persistent.
You mean on the court?
Yeah.
Just always trying to get the good fouls.
Working. You're working.
Make sure your game goes along.
Right. That is one of the best labels you could possibly have, is if people look at you, coaches, players, athletic directors, in professional basketball, general managers, scouts, and they say, you know, Kyle really works hard. Works really, really hard. Tries to get to every play. I can see that. There's something about the believability factor that basically helps you through the tough spots. What else? Okay. Approachable within reason. Okay. There's times, it depends, right? Depends on the situation. There's times when your look should say, all right, I'm here, I have a listening mode. There's another time when maybe things aren't going so well, I might have an explanation point mode. Okay? But these are all things that happen. Certainly when things are crazy, I don't necessarily want to be approachable, but most of the time I want to be in a place where I'm a good listener. Okay? Anything else?
Unbiased.
What's that?
Unbiased.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, all right, so here's what I want you to do. Here's an exercise I want you to do. I want you to write down for yourself all the things that you want your nonverbal to say. All right? Then, when you look at your video, I want you to give yourself a score. So, another one, I heard two different presenters. I heard Bobby and Jamie both say today how much they loved the referee. Bobby talked specifically about how people looked at him and they knew he loved the referee. Okay, that's a good label to have. The people know that you're there because you love the game and you like being there. All right, very, very important. All right. So I want you to write those things down. Give yourself a 1 to 5. 5 being you got it, you're good with that one. If you have a 2 or 3, you want to say to yourself, what can I do to improve this? Most of us, there are things about our presence and our projection These are the two things we're talking about for the most part. Some personality, but about 80% of our communication is nonverbal. So obviously, want this to be the deal maker. I know in professional basketball, when we look for candidates, when you look for people that carry themselves, I'll give you an example. Lauren Holkamp got hired this year, and her nonverbal is exceptional. And she had a really good year. And if you watched any games, she was at the point where, people really left her alone because she carried herself at a level of, she was businesslike, but that was one of her labels. I'm here to do my job. I'm all business, okay? And she carried herself with a very high level of confidence. And she looked very athletic. Another label. You want to run like an athlete? Look at your run. Look at your walk. Look how you carry your head. Go through and do a complete self-assessment on all of that. Okay. I'm going to show us one more play, and I think I'm running out of time. Am I not, Bob? Dave? Okay. All right, we're going to look at one more play here. This is Alabama-Auburn later in the season, and I want you to feel the emotions of this situation, okay? So here we go. Wow. What do you think? First look. What do you have? How many people? Foul? Illegal screen? Illegal screen. Now you guys are thinking because I put all these plays in front of you. Well, I mean, look at this guy got knocked out. You don't think that's a? We just call the whistle and okay. So now we have a reaction from. Is this reaction somewhat predictable? Okay, why? What's that? Okay, so the nature of the play, which appeared to be somewhat violent, looks like this player nearly got knocked out. It's also a rivalry game, and it was pointed out to me that he was in, job-wise, he was in a difficult place also. So he was feeling the pressure. So there was going to be, at this point, he was going to get up and fight for his players. Okay? So at this point, and we're going to have some breakout sessions, and we're going to go over a lot of conflict resolution. So there's the play. Everybody still good with no call? That's a hard no call. You got to be able to see the entire play. Because if you don't see the entire play, you figure that for sure that this guy got shot, and you got to call something. Okay, so now here's the deal. Okay. So I know that rivalry game. I know that this guy's under fire for his job, and I know that that was a violent play, but I got a pretty good feel that we're okay on this play. All right? Even if we weren't, I'm standing there, and there's going to be, I'm going to allow some type of dialogue. Now, he's already going up and down the court once. Okay? Now, here's where you come into option thinking, all right? And this is where we don't use never and always, but the same thing is that you have to find a way to get that coach back into a level of control, okay? Or to get himself back into a level of control. You have to find a way, okay? Sometimes it's time and space. And we're going to talk about this later today. Well, did we have an opportunity for time and space here? Do we have an opportunity for time and space? The center's working, he's working the center position. Hey, that's his position on the floor. So there's no place for him to go, right? So at this point, there has to be he has to in some way address Grant. You follow me? Difficult play, early in the game, emotions, okay? But, okay, now, okay. Technical foul, all right? I've now called the technical foul. In my mind now, what are some of the things? Nonverbal, go through your self-assessment here now. What is it that I want to do now? I've called the tactical foul. Coach me up. What do I want to do now? What's that? Okay, create space. So I want to move away. Give him a chance to get himself under control. Now, this is me. I'm not a real big fan of the other officials coming over to settle somebody down. I don't think that's our responsibility. I think that's the responsibility of the coaching staff and the coach himself. I don't see that as something that is necessarily beneficial. To me, you create space, you're going to shoot tactical fouls, you let him get himself under control, and then you shoot your free throws, and then the next thing is to get the ball in play, and this is what's happened here. The assistant coach and the players are corralling them, and the idea is to shoot the free throws and get the ball in play, okay? So let's go back to find, fail, fix, all right? I'm going to finish up here. So if you're really going to be good, those who know where they are, that's where you start. Know where I am. All right? You have to know where you are. Man, my granddaughter and I went to the mall at Mission Valley the other day, and there was all kinds of stores and levels and the whole thing. And she said, Pop Ed, come on over here. We have to know where we are. And we looked at the map. She says, there where we are. Right there where we are. See? There's the arrow. Oh, yeah. You have to know where we are before we can get to where we're going. So the most important thing right now, you have to know where you are. Be realistic about where you are. I'm not talking about whether you work varsity, JV, whether you're a junior, wherever you are. I'm talking about from the standpoint of your strengths and the areas for development. Right? Know where you are. That's the beauty. You've got some great presentations here today, and you should have a little bit of feel of what you connected to and what you did not. But it's critical to know where you are. Then you want to go through a regular self-assessment exercise during the year, because I'm going to tell you that there's a chance you come back here next year and I ask you, not in intramurals, but I ask you about your high school ball or junior college or whatever, and ask you whether you had any input, and a lot of you might say 0. I've heard that from officials over and over again. So where am I going to get it, right? And the last point is, you're going to, and this has been talked about, in this exercise, if you can find a buddy, somebody who is willing to march with you. So now you're feeding off of each other, and an awful lot of successful officials have had buddies and they've moved up the ladder together. If you have somebody, and Jamie and Bobby talked about being honest, first be honest with yourself and being honest with each other. It's critical. Be your own most severe critic. Okay, so we're going to do, I'm going to cut it off now because we got other stuff to do, but we're going to do a series later this afternoon. You're going to break up into 3 groups, and we're going to do small group, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 of conflict resolution. We're going to talk about situations. So if you have questions about any of these kinds of things, marginal, illegal, okay, gray area plays, then let's talk about them. We're going to talk about a lot about nonverbal communication, how you can carry yourself in a way that's believable that you show you're a leader. Okay, thanks for paying attention. I know it was tough, okay? I'll see you later this afternoon.
You don't get much better than that